A beautiful exhibition of basketball for Utah. The entire arsenal on full display. It all started with Karl Malone, who was so dominant inside. Forget the fadeaway jumpers. Get to the hoop, draw the defense in. And then Karl Malone with the game in the balance late, right to the hoop, dashing all the hopes of the Chicago Bulls. John Stockton found some offensive room to deliver his jumper. Then with the defense collapsing on Karl Malone, Stockton, the beautiful zip pass. Statistically, in Game 3, it was all Utah as they dominated the backboard. The passing ball movement was beautiful. Points in the paint, magnificent. Fast break points, the Utah Jazz ran them out. But the big key, the improved play of Brian Russell, who was a no-show in the losses in Chicago. Magnificent offense right there. In Game 3, the three-pointers, everything running. Yeah, that all came together. They found their game for Utah, but with Chicago bound to get a lot rougher, the Utah Jazz, Marv, they're going to have to play the game of their life tonight. This is it. Utah has to win tonight.
And, Matt, for Michael Jordan, one of the key adjustments on the part of Utah, the fact that they went with bigger people against him, and Jordan at times seemed to be affected by that.
That made Michael drift away from the basket, but eventually he went back inside, and things began to click for Chicago. Now, here he is in the low post. Even against a taller player, he can still elevate. And Michael finds Steve Kerr for a high percentage shot out of the post. And he draws double teams down there. Take a look at Greg Ostertag lead his man to help on Jordan. Brian Williams now gets an open lane to the offensive board for the tip-in. Big difference between games 2 and 3. 4 three-point attempts by Jordan early set the tone. Not enough free throws. There's no doubt about it. Good things happen for Michael and the Bulls when he is the primary low-post player and is attacking the basket.
And as we mentioned earlier on Showtime, Chicago coach Phil Jackson confirmed the speculation that he would start Dennis Rodman against Karl Malone. They're trying to get some fire back in Rodman's game. The Chicago Bulls have been opening with Luke Longley against Karl Malone, but they will go to Rodman in the starting lineup, faced up with Malone, and that will be right from the start. More of these shoe clubs. Let's check in with the dean. Here's about the shot.
All right, thanks, Marv. I talked to the majority of the Bulls players, and to a man, they feel like that last game, they took an old-fashioned butt whipping. Now, I asked Michael Jordan about that butt whipping. I said, last time that happened, you said you took it personal. He said, no, not this time. I'm not really taking it personal, but Dennis Rodman is. Dennis Rodman said, you know, we've always been known as the Big Three, and in Game 3, only 2 of them showed up. I was the missing link, but I will not be missing tonight. Marv?
All right, Marv, well, this crowd is certainly ready. Game 4 is just ahead. It will be the Chicago Bulls, and the Utah Jazz will have the introduction of the starting lineup in a moment.
Is it magic? Can you feel it? What time is it?
Snow time.
Body's on.
The jam is on.
Miller Lite Music Event of 97. Catch it.
Jake!
My defense!
Legroom.
An obedient dog.
That's easy.
My teammates and my Corolla. My royalty.
Down there.
What can you count on? In the past 29 years, over 23 million people answered
My Corolla.
the 1997 Toyota Corolla, the most trusted car in the world.
My Corolla.
One day, Grant Gill's wife called him out of the blue. A broker checked out the market in New York from a market in Bombay. Bob Vernon closed a deal on 3 continents from a 4th. And a man named Riley scouted 6 NBA teams at one time. 220 million times every day, people come together on the most powerful network on Earth. AT&T, it's all within your reach.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller Time. By Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. And by Reebok, helping athletes perform at the top of their game.
71-degree day here in Salt Lake City. Snow-capped mountains in the background. Festive scene around the Delta Center. NBA Finals fever has taken over this city where they just love their Utah Jazz. The crowd rubbing it up here at the start as both the Jazz and the Bulls are completing their pregame warm-ups. And just moments ago, what Chicago Bulls head coach Phil Jackson going to the earplugs, not taking any chances. I understand several Bulls players went to the earplugs in the second half of the game the other night. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. Phil is still testing it. And we're set for the introduction of the starting lineups. We go to one of the NBA's classic public address announcing voices, Dan Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Delta Center. This is the NBA Finals game number 4. Introducing the starting lineup for the Chicago Bulls. Wearing number 33, starting forward at 6'7" from Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen. Starting at forward, wearing number 91 at 6'6" from Southeast Oklahoma State, Dennis Rodman. The starting center, wearing number 13 at 7'2" from New Mexico, Luke Longley. On the guard line, wearing number 9 at 6'6" from Miami of Ohio, Ron Harper. And a guard, wearing number 23 at 6'6" from North Carolina, Michael Jordan. The Bulls are coached by Phil Jackson. Introducing our Utah Jazz. Starting at forward, wearing number 32 and 6'9" from Louisiana Tech, the mailman, Karl Malone. Starting forward, number 3 and 6'7" from Long Beach State, Brian Russell. The starting center, wearing double O and 7'2" from Kansas, Greg Ostertag. On the guard line, wearing number 12 and 6'1" from Gonzaga, John Stockton. And a guard, wearing number 14 and 6'4" from Iowa State, Jeff Hornacek. The Jazz are coached by Jerry Sloan.
Say it is one of the more remarkable scenes in all of sports, the introductions here at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City.
Marv, for the Utah Jazz, they've got to be the physical aggressors. Forget about respect for the Bulls. You've got to develop a dislike for Malone every time. Make Dennis Rodman even more irrelevant than he's been to date.
And Chicago has to regain the defensive aggressiveness that they had in Game 2. Of course, that was back at the United Center in Chicago. They had it for parts of Game 4, especially Game 3, in the fourth quarter, but they have to do it early here to get this game under control.
Well, the Chicago Bulls have dropped the last 3 straight games on the road in NBA Finals play. Michael Jordan talked earlier about the fact that they've got to take this crowd out early. The Bulls want to get off to the fast start. The official sixth defender at T-Rush, Joe Forte, as we close in on the start of Game 4 of the off a 9 for 22, 26-point game the other night. Utah has won 22 straight here at home. They are 9-0 at home in the playoffs. Greg Ostertag and Luke Longley controlled by the Jazz. Russell played by Pippen. Hornacek guarded by Jordan. Stockton gives it to Malone, who fires the first shot. And rebounded by Russell.
Well, right away, Utah going to what they're calling their little motion offense. A little bit of a departure for them.
And here's a three-point attempt by Russell. The rebound is snatched by Harper, who's playing hurt. Injured his shoulder the other day, just prior to fouling out.
And the guards for Chicago, and that includes Scottie Pippen along with Jordan and Harper, have to do a good job on the board. Harper did have 7 rebounds in Game 3.
And Harper challenged Ostertag, and he drew the foul.
Different style the opening moments of this game. Utah staying on the perimeter. Chicago going, attacking the hoop. Phil Jackson enjoying what I thought was a lucky break for the Bulls there. Ostertag in good position. Bailout call.
A lot of times the Chicago Bulls, after a second-made free throw, like to get into their footwork press. And they're just see how Utah would attack it, just get after people.
Ron Harper, very strong in the first 2 games at Chicago. It's really been a home court series so far, particularly for the role players in the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 positions.
So the Bulls with the 1-0 lead. John Stockton who turns it around here on Friday night in Game 3. Greg Ostertag. And Stockton looks to reset.
Everything on the perimeter. Get to the hoop.
Malone. So Karl Malone has missed on his first 2 field goal attempts. Longley.
Beautiful feed by Michael Jordan as the Utah defense fell asleep in transition. Jordan had Ostertag, or I should say Longley, in his sights all the way.
Utah has missed its first 3 shots. Hornacek. Here's Hornacek, who had the worst game of the season. On Friday night, only 1 for 9. Able to hit on his first attempt. Bulls 3 and the Jazz 2. Jordan backing Russell and hitting.
He can still elevate, he can still fade, even over the taller Brian Russell. Even though Hornacek did not shoot the ball well in the last game, Jerry Sloan was very complimentary, played 39 minutes because he was able to space the floor. The first 2 games, identical 5 for 9 from the field, shooting good free throws, but just that 1 for 9, but you don't always have to be scoring to help your ball club.
Here's Malone.
That's become a rhythm shot, almost automatic, in the sense of Olajuwon Rodman, a wild 3-point shot. The Jazz on the break.
Phil Jackson whipped his neck around, glaring at Dennis Rodman. Couldn't believe the shot.
Get the ball into Malone and let him work his way to the basket. Take Rodman out of the game.
Hornacek. You recall in Game 3, Rodman attempted only 1 shot. It was late in the game, but it was also a wild 3-pointer. Bulls 5, the Jazz 4.
Here's that post up that Chicago trying to take advantage of.
And the foul against the Jazz. Off the double team, Pippen was able to find Longley, and Malone picks it up. That's his first.
Well, a good read by Scottie Pippen on the double team coming with the Greg Ostertag, and Luke Longley did a nice job of following that defensive man right to the open spot underneath. Good feed. Luke Longley's got to finish that play off much, much stronger. He's got to dump that ball.
Luke Longley in his 6th season out of New Mexico, native of Melbourne, Australia. Very familiar with this area because University of New Mexico made many college appearances here in Utah. Earlier this season, missed 18 games with a separated shoulder. Bulls take a 6-4 advantage. We have played 3 minutes.
Very early, Marv, but Chicago has got the better game plan so far. Utah too much on the perimeter.
Ostertag with the save. He was thinking of calling a timeout and then realized that he had the balance inbound. They double up on Stockton. Open shot for Malone.
Ron Harper, I think, can keep John Stockton under control. Rodman helping out way too much. Karl Malone's not going to miss that shot in this building.
The game is tied at 6. Here's Jordan flipping it over to Pippen. Open shot for Jordan. So Michael Jordan has hit on his first 2, and it's the Bulls with a 2-point lead. Malone getting possession.
Beautiful timing that time between Stockton and Malone as Karl Malone, when he catches it 2 feet in the paint, absolutely nothing you could do as Dennis Rodman trailing behind Portland.
Jordan Longley with the follow too strong. And a foul. Joe Forte indicating a loose ball affair on Utah. It's called on Stockton.
Karl Malone getting the wide open shot after the inadvertent double team there by Dennis Rodman. And then moving without the ball, Stockton able to just deliver the ball. No pressure defensively by Ron Harper there. The Jazz, though, not taking advantage, not controlling their own defensive backcourt. That's a killer against these Bulls.
Here's the double on Pippen, who immediately found the open man. Jordan. Hornacek with the hustle to get that rebound and then hand it off. Single coverage on Malone. And fouled by Rodman.
Dennis Rodman that time seemed to have Karl Malone under control. No double team coming. And then on the fadeaway shot, a very poor decision. Just slaps him right on the forearm here. Right above the elbow. And so all you have to do is go up with a hand up. If Karl Malone's going to make fadeaway jumpers, so be it. You want him to take that shot. You want him on the perimeter. You don't want him powering to the basket.
And Karl Malone, who picked up the free throw shooting the other night, 7 of 10, not able to hit on his first here.
You look at Karl Malone in the paint throughout this series, getting stronger and stronger. The attempts are so critical there. With a lot of attempts down low, the numbers will be huge for Karl, the MVP.
And a big part of that in Game 3, that he was catching the ball up around the top of the key area, but had a mindset to drive it to the basket. The Bulls' big defenders were too slow to stay with him.
Utah by 1. Malone has 7 points. And defense from the crowd here on Stockton. Nearly picked it off. Jordan trying to post. Going against the 6'7" Russell. Goes to the fadeaway and changes his mind. Harper for 3.
Russell playing very good, solid, disciplined defense on Jordan in the low post. What a pass.
Every game so far, Utah has gotten that particular play, the give and go, easy basket.
Terrible defense, but Longley can't hold on to it.
There's Rodman. Got to the left hand with the wild shot, but blocked by Ostertag and Harper able to hang in. It's the Jazz 11 and the Bulls 10. This crowd has been screaming from the opening tip. 6:15 remaining.
What?
In the first quarter. Good, Bill. Ostertag. And last touch by Longley. Timeout is being taken with 6 minutes to go in this first quarter.
Well, every time the ball goes into the post, it's some kind of split or some kind of backcourt shot. Perfect pass to John Stockton.
The finals continue. Game 5, Wednesday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on NBC.
There's over 2 million miles of paved road out there, but you're not obligated to drive on any of it. Tacoma 4x4, Toyota trucks always come through.
New Buffalo Crispy Strips from KFC are boneless, all-white meat chicken. But will they fly in Buffalo, home of Buffalo Week?
Very good.
All right.
Not bad. The Colonel, he must have been born in Buffalo.
Now try this Buffalo Crispy Strip meal, just $2.99.
Schick Tracer FX is the only razor that flexes to cover every sensitive curve. A design so smart, you can feel it. Schick, the feel of smart design.
What four-letter word was everyone screaming in this tiny Los Angeles club on June 4th? Bush. The Miller Genuine Draft blind date. Small clubs, large bands, big mystery. Explore the unknown. Next blind date, July 18th, San Francisco. To win, listen to your radio.
Pick and roll, such a big part of the Utah offense. Jack Hornacek going to be forced to the baseline by Michael Jordan, and the Bulls had a great deal of success in the first 2 games in Chicago of taking Utah out of this side pick and roll. Utah scrambling here, really getting nothing, forced to take a challenge shot, and Chicago controlling. They did have a reasonable amount of success with the high pick and roll in the first 2 games. Able to spread the floor, Chicago unable to influence in any one particular way. Penetration by Howard Isley and a high percentage shot. In game 3, the side pick and roll improved again because of the alignment of Utah, putting all their people on the other side of the floor, and the high pick and roll wasn't successful, so the chess match continues.
But it's been all Karl Malone here. 7 points for the MVP. Dennis Rodman, still nothing. Not a point, not a rebound.
And we're looking passive. There's still no signs of the kind of energy you would expect from Rodman.
Marva, I think he's consciously trying to behave himself and play for a contract for next season, and that's killing himself and his own team.
Hornacek felt the contact, and Rodman on the box out. Chicago has missed 6 of its last 7 shots. Jazz up by 1. 5.5 remaining in this first quarter. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Ahmad Rashad, Chip Gray from Salt Lake City. Longley lost it.
Numbers for Utah. Take advantage.
Open shot for Russell for 3.
Well, first of all, a good defensive job there by Scottie Pippen to take Hornacek off what looked like an open shot, and good ball faking by Hornacek got Russell that great look. Nobody near him.
Hopper at first trying to post up Stockton. Sloppy passing by the Bulls here at the start. Now Jordan 1-on-1 with Russell, and put on the move to set up the fadeaway. Just did beat the 24-second buzzer.
Even though Michael Jordan has taken a couple perimeter shots, you can see his mindset is different for this game. More post-up thinking and more take it to the basket ideas.
6 points for Jordan. Oh, the crowd wants the ball to go right at Rodman again. A beautiful pass, and it went to the foul. Ostertag will go to the line.
A shot clock winding down for Michael. He realizes it, knows he's going to have to force something up, but able to back Russell in and create just just enough airspace to get that jump shot off.
Man, there's nothing anyone can do defensively about that. Russell played him as well as you could. The biggest thing there is don't get frustrated when he makes plays like that. Howard Isley now in the lineup, replacing Stockton. Ostertag has to get more efficient and productive on the offensive end. He's wide open, or Sloan will come with Foster immediately.
Greg Ostertag on the line for the first time.
Ostertag very strong against Akeem. Now can't get anything done against Luke Longley. Very surprising for Ostertag.
Ostertag invisible in the first half in game number 3, and then came on, did some good things, particularly physically, in the second half. This is on the 2 free throws. The Bulls lead 12-11 as we come up on 4 minutes to go in this first quarter, as Randy Brown has just checked in, and again, miscommunication, but it was last touch by the Jazz.
Well, different thinking on the part of Coach Phil Jackson, coming with Randy Brown, a good defensive player, instead of Steve Kerr for offense, realizing that Isley hurt him in the previous game.
Howard Isley has played very well, and as you mentioned, Bill, he's come on for John Stockton. Isley comes on the double team. Shot clock is down at 2, and Jordan is tripped up.
But the Jazz don't have that edge, that spark yet. Obviously, we're just underway here. Big start for Jordan and Malone. Scottie Pippen has yet to take a shot.
And some travel on Pippen. So the ball back to Utah. This is Howard Isley, 3-year man from Boston College, who has had an outstanding series, being guarded by the good defender Randy Brown. Isley tried to turn him around. Russell for 3. Rebounded by Ostertag. Ostertag is fouled.
Terrific board work by Utah. They've gone away from Karl Malone in the post. The way he's playing, Karl should touch the ball every single time. Offensive rebounding off the brick by Brian Russell. Chicago just pushed way underneath the backboard. Looked like he was going to kick it out. Said, hey, I'll be like AC Green, just throw up whatever.
And Dennis Rodman picking up his second personal foul. Michael Jordan getting more and more frustrated with Luke Longley. First of all, his inability to handle and catch some balls, being in the wrong places sometimes on offense, and defensively not alert. Luke is flat-footed right now.
Ostertag is 67% free throw shooter. Now, Utah shot well at the line in game 3, 26 of 30 overall. You'll recall Malone missed 2 early, and after that, they hit 26 of 28. So, with 3.5 remaining in this opening quarter, the game tied at 12. Pippen dumping it to Russell. And rebounded by Russell. Now Jordan picking up Hornacek.
Finally, to Malone in low. What a pass.
Ostertag lost the grip.
Where is Greg Foster?
Well, Greg Foster, one of the heroes of game 3. And he will be greeted with a deafening response when he comes on. Rodman. Dennis Rodman with his second attempt from the perimeter.
He's totally out of sync. He's trying to make his contribution as a scorer. That's not his game. He's got to defend, get to loose balls, get on the offensive glass, and rebound.
Illegal defense to call for the first time on the Bulls, and a timeout taken with 2:38 left in this first quarter. The Jazz and the Bulls tied at 12.
Well, Scottie Pippen double team. Rodman went to the right place, but not enough lift to finish the shot, and then just forcing an ill-advised shot there.
So low scoring first quarter. Back with more in a moment.
I've been chasing this guy ever since I joined the force.
For Special Agent Sean Archer,
He's the most dangerous criminal mind I've ever known.
there's only one way to catch a killer.
I will become him.
From the director of Broken Arrow, John Travolta,
Nothing like having your face cut off to disturb your sleep.
Nicolas Cage, Face Off.
You're not having any fun.
Rated R starts Friday, June 27th, everywhere.
They said imports taste better. They lied.
And how does that make you feel?
Used, manipulated, betrayed.
And how does that make you feel?
Used, manipulated, betrayed.
So now what?
Only drink fresh beer. Budweiser.
You have made a real breakthrough. You did it on your own.
Born on dating from Budweiser. What fresh beer tastes like.
You're on the road to freshness. Hold all my calls. Is this safe?
Is it safe? Safe?
Not safe.
It's not safe. It's safe.
Not safe.
Not safe.
I read it wasn't safe.
It's too risky.
It's not safe.
What are you talking about? Shopping. On the internet.
Your son is shopping on the internet.
The internet. With his credit card. It's the future of commerce. I read about it.
It could be safe.
Well, how do you know?
IBM is making it safer to buy things over the web.
In aims to answer the call of the wild, one must soar with the grace and ease of the majestic eagle. Have the heart and soul of the mighty bear. And seek comfort in the great outdoors. It is here that our ancient spirits find a balanced path in our civilized world.
Tiger Woods tries to become the first back-to-back Grand Slam winner in a quarter century at the U.S. Open. Live coverage begins Thursday at 3 Eastern on NBC. There he is, Steve Jones. They call him Cyber Snapper, a close personal friend of Bill Walton's, although Bill says let's not get that crazy. Tonight and throughout the NBA Finals, Steve will be analyzing the games live online on NBCSports.com. He'll answer any questions that you have about the game or the series while providing pre- and post-game analysis. Plus, after the game, you can listen into the post-game press conferences online. That's all on NBCSports.com during the NBA Finals. They mentioned the low-scoring first quarter, which is even at 12. Chicago just 5 of 14. Utah 5 of 15 from the field. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Marv, I was talking to Michael Jordan about the last game. He said that he was really trying to pace himself, both mentally and physically during the game. But this particular game, you can see he is not doing that at all. He's animated and going right at it right from the start. One other note, Dennis Rodman has just gone to the locker room, and I understand he has an upset stomach, and I'll keep you posted on it, Marv.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Foul is called on Brown. Here's Dennis Rodman heading back to the locker room moments ago, as Ahmad just mentioned. And we'll have a report as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Howard Isley to the free throw line. Both teams with their fourth team foul. Brent Foster has checked in for the first time, and he heard it from the crowd. Foster, who equaled a career high with 17 points here on Friday night. He had been very quiet first 2 games of the series.
Ostertag not able to deliver offensively. Bob, I've never seen Karl Malone pass the ball better or sharper. It's got to keep dumping into him, but Brian Russell, who has yet to score in 4 attempts, he's got to find the range from the perimeter.
Longley off the setup from Jordan to tie the game at 14.
Phil Jackson called that play from the bench during the free throw situation, and the Bulls can exploit the weak pick-and-roll defense of Utah. They just don't do it that often.
Hornacek got a quick release. Lightning quick release by Hornacek. Doing it against Jordan. And the Jazz up by 2. And here's Jordan. Travel. No call made as he tied the game.
Well, he covered a lot of territory there. Everybody in the stands giving the traveling signal. But I thought Michael held that right foot, the pivot foot, and held it strong and just elongated himself into the shot.
Hornacek with the fake on Jordan to set it up. And Jeff Hornacek has come roaring back from the 1. quarter.
Pippen in the paint, they quickly double.
Here comes Isley. But the Bulls got back. And Jerry Sloan said, pull it back. Well, Greg Foster had a notion.
Randy Brown's really doing a solid job on Isley early.
And Brown with the block of Isley.
Well, Phil Jackson's mindset in this first quarter is defense, coming with Randy Brown first and Cappy instead of Kukoc.
And the other factors we mentioned earlier, Hopper is playing with an injured shoulder. Played only briefly in the early going. Jordan fired that three. Foster on the rebound. 25 seconds left. First quarter.
Dump it into Karl Malone. Let him get to the hoop. The crowd can finish on an upbeat.
Malone is being guarded now by Jason Caffey. Down to 3 on the shot clock. Malone gives it up. Hornacek with the hot hand. It's a 3 for Hornacek. Final seconds of the quarter. The Jazz up by 5. Quarter complete. Here in Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz 21, the Chicago Bulls 16. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
Where you treat me this way, from dawn to dusk, you take me 100,000 miles, just not enough. Well, I'll go to different, baby. I'll rise above, 'cause I know you're always gonna hurt the ones you love.
The highly durable Tacoma 4x2. Toyota trucks always come through.
Michael Jordan on Life. Life is being judged every night on the highest court. Standing up to competition and thirsting for more. Sometimes life is an easy layup. Unless, of course, you can dunk. Life is about winning. Life is about loss. Life is knowing the toughest competition you will ever face is yourself. Life is a sport.
It is said that good things come to those who wait. But in business, greater things come to those who refuse to. And for people like these, an incredible weapon has been created.
Velo from Philips Magnavox. Windows, email, internet. The power of a computer in the palm of your hand.
In yet another torture test, we drained the oil from this car and added just this much Castrol Syntec. We then ran it over 100 miles per hour and waited and waited. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. And if a little Syntec can protect under these conditions, imagine what a full oil change can do. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't. And for your toughest cleaning tasks, try any Castrol Super Clean product.
You're watching the NBA Finals on NBC.
Jeff Hornacek, the consummate team player, comes out on fire along with Karl Malone to lead the way. But Jeff is the kind of guy that moves beautifully without the ball. He's got the lightning quickly, and this is a shot that he makes regularly. But his game is coming off screens and delivering. And you see the fine performance in Chicago. This is not a team that gets hung up on statistics. He'll just keep playing, keep rolling. Tonight, he's got the hot hand. Utah will find a way to milk him. Jeff on the bench for a well-deserved rest.
And on that last field goal by Jeff Hornacek, actually Karl Malone had an open jumper, but realized that Hornacek has the hot hand. Karl not trying to force anything, playing the game as it should be.
Second quarter underway. Phil Jackson with some changes. Steve Kerr, who was hitting the shot the other night, checked it along with Brian Williams, who was so effective off the bench it gets right to it. So that ends the 5-0 run by by the Jazz. They now lead by 3.
Phil Jackson coming now with a more offensive-minded group while Michael Jordan rests on the bench.
Great post-entry pass, Stockton.
Ryan Williams now guarding Karl Malone, and the shot waved off. Foul away from the ball as Stockton hit the deck with Kerr.
The big four, the future Hall of Famers, Malone, Stockton, Pippen, and Jordan. Tremendous, really unbelievable career statistics and accomplishments. Dream teamers.
Foul was called on Kerr. We're opening minute, second quarter. Nice fake by Stockton that had Kerr going. Offensive foul. Karl Malone is called for his second personal.
This is a terrible call. Karl Malone is already in the air, taking his move. Picks up his second foul, and everybody's standing underneath the basket, flopping, taking charges.
And that's the only turnover in this first half committed by Utah. Offensive foul is a turnover.
Chicago want to go to a pick and roll here, but nobody came to get Scottie Pippen, as Brian Williams' job is to go over and set that pick. Don't sleep.
And the foul called on Foster. Look at the big four thus far tonight. Karl Malone got off to that fast start. What about Scottie Pippen? Only one field goal attempt. Still playing hurt. Bothered by the foot injury. Went to the outside successfully in the second half the other night and finished up with 7 3-point shots. But we'll have to see how mobile Scottie Pippen is. Here's an example of it as he goes to the fadeaway. And a loose ball foul against the Bulls. Foul on Kukoc.
Well, the Bulls are pushing and shoving and getting their way to the offensive glass. I'm really surprised Scottie has just not been a monster in the offensive end in the low post.
Well, nothing is going smoothly at the offensive end for Chicago. Everything is a struggle, and you have to give a lot of that credit to the Jazz defense.
Stockton unable to get open for his own shot here.
Antoine Carr, Chris Morrison checked in for the first time. Stockton. And it's the Jazz 23 and the Bulls 18. And Ahmad Rashad reporting that apparently Dennis Rodman did suffer an upset stomach, but he will be all right as Steve Kerr is able to knock it down. And Dennis Rodman will be available to make his return.
And he's back on the bench right now. Easy to spot him with that beautiful red hair.
3 points, Jazz lead. Pippen with the rebound.
Well, Foster's not having the impact that he had in Game 3. Out of rhythm. Uh-oh, Scottie Pippen got John Stockton.
The lazy pass by Ron Harper. He's got to take more time and care and make a better feed than that.
Nice ball movement.
Antoine Carr had a minor incident on the bench with Jerry Sloan back in Game 3. Kukoc, he thought he was fouled. No call made.
The Chicago offense is absolutely out of it right now. They got to get Michael Jordan back on the floor to restore some kind of order and start getting better shots.
Scottie is standing there like his feet are killing him.
Carr facing the double team, setting it up for Russell for 3. And Pippen off the box out. And Dick Perfetta with the call on Chris Morris, tripping foul. Timeout taken, 8 minutes, 54 seconds to go. First half. Whoa.
I know a place.
This is not a country for wimps. We invented the cowboy, the jawbreaker, and the quarterback blitz. And we are rough on our cars. So get a new Chevy Malibu. Your first scheduled tune-up's at 100,000 miles. Engine coolant, 5 years or 150,000 miles. Transmission fluid, forget about it. We're talking the automotive equivalent of Rocky Balboa. The car you knew America could build. The brand new Chevy Malibu.
Oh, hello. Hello, Pizza Hut. How much is one of your new pizzas?
$8.99.
Pepperoni. With pepperoni.
$8.99.
Sausage. Pepperoni and sausage.
$8.99.
Pepperoni and pepper.
$8.99. $8.99. Mushrooms, that's $8.99.
Now you can get one of our totally new medium pizzas for just $8.99. Topped any way you want.
How much for a second?
Just $5.
Any medium, $8.99. Second one, $5 more.
Grant, it's time to look beyond basketball. I'm thinking made-for-TV drama.
You want me to be just like Tommy, Dad, but I can only be Jake.
After that, you go on tour with your book. Then you cut an album.
I'm a cowboy.
So, what do we think?
I'd never do something like that. Care for a Sprite?
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Sprite. By Motor Trend 1997 Car of the Year. The brand spanking new Malibu. Genuine Chevrolet. And by DirecTV. Satellite TV at its best.
Well, our aerial view shots of Salt Lake City tonight coming from the Miller Eagle as we welcome you back to the Delta Center. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you, Marv. Jerry Sloan, during that timeout, told all of his guys, he pointed in each one of their chests. He says, you've got to hit the boards, and you've got to box them out every trip down the court. The only one who was excluded was John Stockton. He says, offensively, better shots. You can't do everything at once on the offensive end. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. Jerry Sloan was so upset with his club following that poor performance back in Game 2. He was seething, saying that they lost their will against the Chicago Bulls, and they were certainly able to turn it around in Game 3. Scottie Pippen getting the roll. That's his first field goal. It's the Jazz 23 and the Bulls 22.
Well, the Bulls have been going into Scottie Pippen quite a bit. 8 times so far in post-up situations. They've only scored once.
Michael Jordan is back. Here's Carr. Carr played well, but was able to hit on the pull-up.
It's a critical juncture here for Utah. The second unit plus Stockton, they've got to find a rhythm. They've got to find a guy who can put some points on the board, Antoine Carr, that time.
Well, the one play they can go to every time is to pick and roll with Stockton. Steve Kerr having all kinds of difficulty.
Michael Jordan off the mark on the 3, but Kukoc is able to take it away from Foster. Nice pass from Kerr, setting it up for Williams.
Greg Foster and the Jazz, they have got to hold on to those defensive rebounds. Chicago with a couple of rebound edge early in the second quarter.
Pippen broke it up. Alert defensive play. Pippen chased by Stockton, able to beat him, protected the dribble, and then was able to knock it down to give the Bulls a 1-point lead, and Jerry Sloan wants to talk it over. 7:19 left in the second quarter. The Bulls with a good start. They've taken a 1-point lead.
I'm the luckiest man alive. I just bought this camera. Does my Visa card have some kind of purchase coverage or something? No? Oh, boy. Hey, does Visa have any place out here I can pick up a new car today? No, but I'm driving to Vegas to see Steve and Edie tonight.
Visa is everywhere you want to be.
What was that? Visa says they're everywhere, but American Express helps you with just about everything.
You think we should get help?
Nope, I got it. So you can always do more.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
This dish is going to change my life. I like you better already. Turn it on, turn it on. And now, I give you game time.
Heidi?
They said it was on satellite TV. It's on DirecTV. DirecTV?
You don't have DirecTV.
You got height. Only DirecTV delivers more sports than any other mini-dish system. If you don't have it, you're going to get it. You squint, you kind of look like John Elway. DirecTV. Satellite TV at its best.
Like a rock, I was strong as I could be. Like a rock, nothing ever got to me.
We thought this would be a good time to show you how roomy and comfortable the Chevy full-size pickup is.
Like a rock.
Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Now My McDonald's has more than your favorite food. We have your favorite music, the Disney Music Collection, with great songs from your favorite Disney movies like The Lion King, Aladdin, even a song from the new Hercules movie. You can get a CD or cassette for under $4 when you buy a Happy Meal or any large sandwich. And McDonald's will donate money to Ronald McDonald House Charities.
This is really good music.
So hurry into My McDonald's
That you got a friend in me.
before it's over.
Well, the Bulls have picked it up here in the second quarter. They've hit 5 of 8. They've outscored the Jazz 10-4. We have 7:19 left in the first half, and the Bulls with a 26-25 lead. Karl Malone got off to the early burst, but has been quiet since those moments.
Well, he's been out. That's why Jerry Sloan took that timeout, according to Jim Gray. Nothing really wrong, just trying to get some guys back in the game. They got to find something out of their small forward, Brian Russell, 0 for 5 on the night.
Along with Morris and Ostertag, who's returned. Stockton and Hornacek in the backcourt. Stockton forced to work hard by Kerr. Ostertag with a shot clock running down.
Mismatch inside. John Stockton recognized it. He just couldn't figure out exactly how he wanted to go in to Ostertag, who just drove in the lane, drew some defense, and Ostertag finally making a good move inside over Kukoc.
Ostertag with his first field goal. It's the Jazz by 1. Here's Brian Williams. Look out, Ostertag and Williams becoming entangled, but nothing serious develops.
Ostertag finally gets an opportunity against the guy he can score at will on. Toni Kukoc, of course, playing with a very sore foot, but still not ever a defensive force.
Foul was called on Ostertag.
Well, the Jazz are not doing a good job of beating the Bulls across the lane defensively.
Here's Pippen. Now that's the rebound. Oh, he ripped it down to Karl Malone.
Chicago dominating the points in the paint.
Well, in traffic, Karl Malone getting high up in the air for his third rebound with Brian Williams challenging. And then what he does is sprint the floor hard, and that picks up the tempo for his whole team. And by sprinting, gets excellent position with Williams on top for the easy one.
That was an out-shooting foul on Brian Williams. The basket did not count. Now here is Malone. Well, Karl Malone is now 3 of 7 from the field. Chicago down by 1 with the ball. 6 minutes left in the first half. The lead for Pippen went too deep. He had to save it. Kukoc. Yes. Toni Kukoc hits the 3. Beginning to hit his shot. Still not himself because of the foot injury. But Phil Jackson telling us earlier he has liked what he's seen the last couple of games from Kukoc.
It all starts with your feet, Marv. Unless you can practice at full speed every day, everything is going to be luck. As Steve Kerr, great steal, irritates tough.
Ryan Williams with the finisher. John Stockton felt that he was fouled.
And made the mistake of arguing with the official while running back on defense. Kerr had his head up, and a good sprint by Brian Williams to get an easy basket. The Chicago Bulls have changed their philosophy on defense on the side pick and roll. They haven't been forcing it down, trying to fight over the pick.
Bulls with a 4-point lead as we come up on 5 minutes left. Jeff Hornacek has been on fire. 5 of 7 from the field. He has 11. The Bulls by 2. Here's Coach again. Toni Kukoc with his second consecutive 3. It's Chicago 34 and Utah 29.
Well, the Bulls had to go all season long with all kinds of injury fouls. Hard to imagine that they could beat a good team on the road like Utah without something from Kukoc or something from Robin. So far, absolutely zilch from Dennis Rodman.
Utah has called overtime.
Chicago pushing the ball after Hornacek's jumper. And then Stockton just ran away from a man with the ball. John Stockton, this is not his greatest afternoon on basketball. Toni Kukoc, though, you see his declining playoff numbers. Peaked there in '95. That was the year Jordan was playing baseball. Last year, not that much of a factor, and then this year plagued miserably by that sore foot. You've had to feel badly for Toni Kukoc. He's a much better player than he's shown.
And it's not always statistics with Toni Kukoc. He does so many other things at the offensive end as far as helping out with the ball handling, giving Jordan and Pippen a rest, getting second-unit players good shots. But he does struggle defensively.
And the Bulls with a very strong second quarter. They have outscored the Jazz 18-8. It's their biggest lead, a margin of 5, just under 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Foster flashing down low against Pippen and then moved back outside. Stockton using the pick from Malone. John Stockton with his third field goal. He has 6 points. Bulls 34. The Jazz 31.
No impact from Stockton. The numbers are starting to build up, but certainly no impact from the small forward position for Utah.
Foster with the play to take it away from Kukoc. And a foul called. It was a shot, but it was waved off. The trailing official, Dick Pavetta, blowing the whistle and indicating a holding foul against Chicago.
Kukoc in the low post. Foster stays down. Kukoc just lost the ball. Nothing there. And then they took this basket away. A half-court heave.
Oh, Brian Williams was called on the foul. That amused Phil Jackson somewhat. He is reinserted. Dennis Rodman, as reported earlier. Dennis went back to the locker room suffering with an upset stomach. Also suffering playing Karl Malone defensively.
I'd come right to Karl here and establish it.
Foster. And as Foster made his move, offensive foul. Greg Foster trying to force the issue. Picks up his second.
Well, Greg Foster didn't think he charged. He felt he got rid of the ball in time. Jerry Sloan wasn't really sure. Let's take a look. Oh, that's a horrible call, as there was really no contact. Shouldn't have been an offensive foul.
Utah's really got the short end of the stick a couple times right underneath the basket. Chicago's got the offensive rhythm as of now.
Nothing.
They will be here.
I don't see anything.
The guidebook says this is the place.
Whose idea was this?
Introducing Chevy Venture, the minivan with the widest dual sliding doors.
So where are they?
Slipping in and out has never been so easy.
Honey, maybe we ought to go further down.
Let's go.
The all-new Chevy Venture is here.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is obviously not the spot.
What you call a free spirit. I just love having a good time. And I guess that's how I play basketball too.
He's one of the best point guards in the world.
Just ask my coach here in Germany.
Yeah, that's true.
I play basketball all over the world, and I go anywhere for a good game.
From way outside.
Now I'm ready for my biggest challenge yet, the WNBA. See you in America.
Watch Michelle Timms in the Phoenix Mercury this summer.
Jordan, Pippen, Malone, Danza. Only one will have a show on NBC this fall.
I think that's enough said.
Toni Danza, this fall on NBC.
Looking ahead, coming up at halftime, the Prudential halftime report. We'll hear from Michael Jordan on his future and the future of the Chicago Bulls. Michael spoke to us shortly before tonight's game. Hannah Storm will be joined by the Dr. Julius Irving, Peter Vesey, the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello. That's all coming up on the Prudential halftime report. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Marv, the last couple of timeouts. First, the 22nd timeout. Toni Kukoc hit those 2 threes in a row. Greg Foster was inserted in the game, didn't know who his man was, so we wanted to make sure he knew his assignment. This timeout, he told the Jazz, play through the officials, keep your composure, but continue to be aggressive. Marv?
It turns out, though, Marv, that his man was Toni Kukoc, which is why Jerry Sloan had to have that timeout.
Yes, Kukoc hit the consecutive threes. Here's Kerr for 3. Great closeout defense by Stockton, forced a missed delivery by Kerr.
And a very quiet second quarter for Jordan. 4 minutes, taking only 1 shot, 0 for 1 from the field. Karl Malone backing Dennis Rodman. Shot clock at 5. Malone, an air ball.
Steve Kerr did a nice job of coming down just at the right time to double Malone and take him out of the post.
Rodman at the post. Pippen. Jordan open. Rebound, Pippen. Scottie Pippen on a putback. That foot looking much better.
Complete breakdown defensively by Chicago. You've got to get if you're going to leave a guy wide open for a jumper, Jordan, whoever, you've got to get the weak side defensive board.
And Malone lost it. Good play by Rodman. Here comes Jordan. And decides to regroup. Bulls lead 36-31 with 2.5 to go in the first half. Kerr for 3. Now Stockton checking out the floor as Malone took position. This time they went to the double on Malone. Now single coverage. And the foul at the block. Rodman was looking to draw the charge, and Dick Rivetta said no way.
Well, actually, Dennis Rodman does a good job here. Maybe the first positive thing that he did all night by screening out a couple of white shirts to enable Pippen to get that shot. But now, Dennis Rodman in a lot of trouble with 2 personal fouls, stuck one-on-one, trying to flop and take that charge, and Karl Malone instead picks up his 3rd.
So Karl Malone, now 2 of 3 at the line. Join us Wednesday, prime time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for the Bulls and the Jazz. And game number 5, Michael Jordan and his Chicago Bulls going up against Karl Malone, John Stockton of the Jazz. Again, right here at the very tough Delta Center, Salt Lake City. Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 in the West, right here on NBC. 2 minutes, 11 seconds left in this first half. And it's the Bulls 36 and the Jazz 33. It's been close throughout. Remember, we've had 16-point leads at halftime in games 2 and 3. Not the case here tonight. Jordan trying to brush off Stockton, and he did.
Well, this first half is more reminiscent of Game 1, which was low scoring, but 48-42. That's a lot of scoring compared to this with 1:40 to go in the first half.
Well, nobody's playing well for Utah with the exception of Karl, the NBA. What a pass again. Hornacek can't find it.
And Toni Kukoc has been a major factor in the second quarter. Scottie Pippen, beautiful lead. Luke Longley puts it down. And the Bulls have the biggest lead of the night. They're up by 7.
The Jazz defense does not deny penetration. They keep going for those pump fakes. They have no chance to win this critical game as Luke Longley throws Hornacek out of the way.
The crowd was looking for a foul as Hornacek and Longley came together. Shot clock at 3. Here's Foster. To the left hand.
A terrific adjustment by Greg Foster, who was off balance, didn't really have a good handle on it, but able to just regroup at the last second to put it up and in.
Down to 45 seconds in this first half. Kukoc wide open for the 3. Longley on the box out. No one in front of him. And it leads to the foul.
Marv, we saw this last year with Seattle, who could not stop Chicago on the offensive glass. But here Jordan just burns the much shorter Stockton John with no chance defensively. And then Scottie Pippen with the ball fake. Guys running by. Once you penetrate Chicago, there is no way you're going to keep them from scoring. You got to make them take and miss perimeter jumpers.
And Foster was called for the foul to put Longley at the line. That's 3 on Foster. Longley now 1 of 3 at the line.
Well, in the opening minutes of the first quarter, both Pippen and Jordan were penetrating, but Luke Longley wasn't getting to the right spot, and when he was mishandling the ball. Michael Jordan jumped on him midway through that first quarter. I think Luke has at least responded mentally into this game. He's more alert.
Adam Keefe checked in. You see Greg Foster sitting down after picking up a third. Keefe played 10 minutes the other night.
Well, remember when Michael was talking about the good start and playing well early to keep the crowd out of it? The Bulls have succeeded in that.
Bulls have a 5-point lead. Stockton guarded now by Hopper. Hornacek for 3. And it's Kukoc with the rebound.
Great defense. Jordan staying right with the quick release jump shooter Hornacek.
And the Bulls are holding for a final shot of this first half. Setting it up, you see him directing traffic. Just about a 1.5 second differential with the game clock. Down to 5 seconds. Jordan for 3. Rebound Carr. Here's Russell firing. Rimming the basket from beyond midcourt. But the Bulls outscore the Jazz in the second quarter, 24-14 for a 5-point lead at the half. Jeff Hornacek leading Utah with 11. Michael Jordan, high man for Chicago with 10. We'll join Hannah for the Prudential halftime report right after these messages.
Hey, what were you expecting?
Great basketball is coming to NBC this summer, but WNBA.
It's the only one out there. And here it comes. The only compact pickup to offer a third door. Okay, folks. Show's over. Chevy S10, like a rock.
Storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey, what about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI. The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Yeah, get in. I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
Let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room. Dork. Dork.
Only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. He was. Oh, yes, he was. Now is the time. This is the place. This is the day. Dr. Pepper. This is the day.
Your attention, please. Your attention, please.
Come on, guys. Come on. Look at it. Yes, sir. Let's go.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Halftime of Game 4 in Salt Lake City with the Bulls leading the Jazz 40-38. Michael Jordan with just 10 points, but the supporting cast has been good. Jeff Hornacek leads the Jazz with 11 points. Karl Malone has 9, all when he was guarded by Dennis Rodman. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm along once again with Julius Erving, Peter Vesey, and Mike Fratello, and their insights on the first half coming up in just a moment. But first, Michael Jordan. There is a lot riding on his return to basketball next season. The possibility of Michael not coming back has the city of Chicago fearful of a repeat of what happened to the city in 1994, an early Jordan retirement. Marv Albert spoke with Michael before tonight's game.
If you ride a roller coaster for 9 years, don't you want to ride something else? And that's where I feel right now. I've been on this roller coaster for 9 years. Just time for me to ride something else.
You are playing at such a high level. Could you walk away at this point and still enjoy yourself?
It wouldn't be enjoyment if I feel like I can't go out and put forth the same attitude and the same energy and not have the same type of leadership that I've had for my years in the city of Chicago. It isn't what I do individually. I know I can still play the game of basketball. But, aside from that, you got to have a one focus, a certain harmony amongst the team to have that motivation. And I think we lose that if Phil is not around. So it isn't a point if I can still play the game, but I know I can still play, but it doesn't have the same meaning if I don't have the same focus and the same harmony.
Does that mean that you have made up your mind and you're simply waiting to see how Phil and the Bulls resolve the situation?
Sure. I would rather see Phil and the organization settle their differences, and then I think it would be very simple to settle the differences from my standpoint.
And I think peace of mind is really what it costs for me. That if it's not this organization, the Bulls organization, it's something that it can be trusted, that it's got a backbone, that it stands for something.
Yeah, if Phil is not around, then it's not that much of a decision-making process for me. I certainly don't want to start all over. And if Phil is not around, then that's the attitude that I think the organization is taking. Because Phil's openly said that he wants to be back and coaching his team as long as the key players are in place. And I think that's his desire to be around. But if the organization wants to take a different approach, that's something that we can't control. But I can control if I want to go through that whole process again.
There are going to be teams trying to grab me, realizing that I have 1 year on my contract. I don't focus on that, and I don't let it bother me. If it happens, it happens.
What if you and Phil Jackson both want to return? The Bulls say, yes, of course, we want you both, but they decide to trade Scottie Pippen. Could that affect your decision?
Certainly. I think we're in the midst of this because of, the nucleus of our team, which Scottie is a part of that. If you want to trade Scottie Pippen and, try to get some draft picks for the future, then I don't think that's appropriately trying to win at this particular time, which is one of the reasons that Phil and myself want to continue to be a part of the organization at this particular time, is that our chances of winning are now. And to lose a big piece of that puzzle is really jeopardizing our opportunity to win now. And I wouldn't consider that a continuous process of what we have done. I would consider that a rebuilding process.
Marv brought up the point about Scottie Pippen, and we saw in a pregame interview with Pippen, Peter, that he feels he'll be in a Bulls uniform next season. So a little bit of a change in the Pippen scenario. How do you see things playing out next year?
Jerry Reinsdorf's a very smart man. There is no way that he's going to break up this team. I mean, he's waiting until the end of the finals, I think, just to make Jackson sweat, because Jackson has gotten into some problems with Jerry Krause. You do not break up a dynasty. It's way too difficult to try to rebuild. Everybody knows that.
Michael Jordan started off hot, looked like he might even take over this game, but he finished the half with just 5 of 11 shooting and only 2 points in the second quarter. When we return, we'll hear from Dr. J and Mike Fratello on the first half of the Bulls and the Jazz. But first, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA.
That command account has a statement. You can't get a better statement than that, in my opinion. 3, 4, 5 pages here versus all of this stuff. You've got checking account capabilities. How many shares I had, how much I invested. The information is there, which helps make me a better investor. It gives me up-to-date, current information, and it takes the place of all of this stuff. When it comes down to tax time, I just hand it to my tax man. The best statement I've ever had. They even 3-hole punch it for you. It's really handy.
No one taught me more about teamwork than my dad. They called him Mr. Mean because he never smiled. He didn't smile when he volunteered to coach the kids in the neighborhood. He didn't smile when he drove the team to every game. Or when he worked with kids for hours on his own time. He showed me anyone can make a difference if they just get involved. I'll tell you something else about my dad. He's got a great smile. Team up with your community.
Yeah.
Welcome back. The Bulls leading the Jazz 40-35. Let's talk about the first half in which Scottie Pippen is 3 of 6 for 6 points. And, Doc, you talked about the need before the game to make some adjustments and let Pippen take advantage of that matchup against the smaller Jeff Hornacek.
Well, we discussed this matchup possibility in the pregame, and true to form, the Bulls started out with Scottie Pippen down in the low post. The taller, stronger Scottie Pippen had the height advantage over Hornacek, 3 inches, 40 pounds, but he was passive. He wasn't looking to score out of the low post. Playing with his back to the basket is not something that Scottie Pippen really likes to do. It's not his cup of tea, and you see him here missing badly. Then he comes back, and after multiple frustrations in the low post, Scottie Pippen returns to the point, playing facing the basket where Scottie Pippen loves to be. The Bulls turned things around when Scottie Pippen went back and played his point forward position.
And we should touch on Jeff Hornacek, who had his worst performance of the playoffs in Game 3, going just 1 for 9, even though his team win. How do you like the way he bounced back tonight?
I think what it tells you about both these teams, they have veteran guys who, if they have a bad game, have the ability to bounce right back and contribute to their team. Let's look at a couple of Hornacek's big baskets. If we talk about Utah, pick and roll is so synonymous with them, but also the split action, which produces wide open shots for their guards on many opportunities. This time, Stockton the screener for Hornacek and the basket. Off-balance shots, very characteristic of Jeff Hornacek. On the move, normally we talk about squaring up. Well, he has an ability to ball fake, float, and still convert what I would call very difficult shots. And then the traditional spot up to the open area. He started out early, making his shots. He may be the one to carry him the rest of the evening.
A Hornacek's son, Ryan, in Game 3, wore a Michael Jordan jersey to the game. But after the way that Hornacek has outscored Jordan 11-10 and held Scottie Pippen along with Pippen's foot to 1 field goal attempt in the first quarter, I could have sworn I saw Michael's kids starting to put on that Hornacek jersey.
And Michael Jordan getting some great support, as we mentioned, at the top of the halftime. It's the Bulls with a big edge in terms of bench scoring as Chicago leads Utah with points off the bench 14-6. And the Bulls leading the Jazz by 5 as we send it back courtside for the second half right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, health care, real estate, and financial services.
This game is brought to you in part by Ameritech.
Hi. We're thinking about having a baby. Could we try yours for 30 days?
Wouldn't it be nice if you could try things before making a commitment? Ameritech will let you try a cellular phone for 30 days.
Want to go for a ride?
You'll probably want to keep it. But if not, just return it. Try an Ameritech cellular phone for 30 days and get free unlimited local calls for 3 months. Ameritech, your link to better communication.
We spent so much time working on this, getting it going, and it almost fell apart over who was going to buy the paper clips. We kind of learned the hard way that we just both couldn't do everything. She works on products, new sauces, and I sell. We're in over 200 restaurants now. The big decisions we make together, that's why you have a partner. If I'm laying awake at night, I want to know someone else is too.
It's your life's work. Does your bank understand that?
Please stand by. This
passengers will begin boarding momentarily. This flight has been delayed. We have no further information at this time.
I don't know, sir.
I don't know, sir.
Sorry, sir. You're going to have to go to the customer service center next gate.
We apologize.
If Orville and Wilbur had to go through what you do just to fly,
Would you like to speak to my supervisor?
they would have stayed in the bicycle business.
Flight delay. Whoever told you that, it is.
Air travel needs to be easier and more professional, especially for the people who do it most.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Now it will be.
the flight to Kitty Hawk has been canceled. Please be...
Because compared to the rest of the industry, United Airlines is heading in a different direction. United Airlines, rising.
And now another summer viewing tip from NBC.
So you think you've seen every episode of Frasier this season? Well, my friend, you've been living a lie. Research shows the average viewer thinks they've seen all the episodes, but in fact, they've seen less than half. Astonishing. This summer, NBC's presenting the classic episodes of Frasier you missed. Because if you haven't seen it, it's new to you. That Eddie kills me.
Welcome back to the Della Center, Salt Lake City, Utah, where the Chicago Bulls lead the Utah Jazz 40-35 at halftime. Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Matt Kukoc. Let's take a look at the Miller Lite halftime statistics. First, the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls overall shooting 45%, 16 of 31 from two-point range, 2 of 9 from downtown, only 6 trips to the free throw line.
And Michael Jordan, 5 attempts in the post in the first quarter, only 2 in the second. The double team is coming quickly. Michael has been forced to settle for perimeter shots.
Now, Utah got off to the good start, led by Karl Malone, but a very poor second quarter. Overall, 41% shooting and just 1 of 7 from three-point range.
Or Karl Malone only took 8 shots. That's unacceptable. 6 of them against Dennis Rodman. He waxed him, but then he sort of fell out of it against Brian Williams. And John Stockton has to play better. He had good numbers, but was really ineffective. Brian Russell, absolutely nothing. 0 for 6. No spark from the bench. No sense of desperation, Marv. The Jazz, they have to win this game.
Bulls lead it by 5 as we head to the second half.
The Pepsi Stuff catalog is back, and you won't believe what's inside.
I've told you 1,000 times, no playing with professional athletes in the house.
Mom, this year's Pepsi Stuff is the coolest collection ever. You can even win a chance to hang with your favorite sports star.
You role models should really know better.
Drink a lot of Pepsi, get a lot of stuff.
Hey, let's go to my house.
I'll drive.
If you want great taste without all the fats, then go to Subway for a fresh sandwich. And right now, for a limited time, we've livened up our roasted chicken breast sandwich with the sweet, delicious flavor of Grey Poupon honey mustard. Take the Subway challenge at a Subway near you.
What were the chances we'd be sharing love before the night was through? Strangers in the night, two lonely people, we were strangers in the night, up to the moment when we said our first hello. Little did we know, love was just a glance away, a warm embracing dance away. Doody-dooby-doo.
Tennis is a lot like the NBA. You've got your forehand, your backhand, you can play from the baseline, or you can rush the net. And there's always a slam. Maybe I'll have a future in the NBA. Maybe not.
I'm Marv Rashad back at the Delta Center here in Salt Lake. And at halftime, Phil Jackson happy about a lot of things, including the score at halftime. And he was very happy about their intensity, happy about their defense. The things he was upset about was they still had bad execution on their offense, settling for too many outside shots. So they need to work the ball inside and make their cuts, and they'll be all right. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks so much, Jerry Sloan. Not too happy, very unhappy that the Jazz was unable to stop the Bulls' fast break. 11 fast break points. He says, also the Bulls are playing much better defensively tonight, so he says we must execute our offense much better. We need more energy. Their energy level is much higher than us. It must come with more intensity, and we've got to hit the boards. If we don't hit the boards, Marv, we're not going to win.
All right, thanks, Jim. Yes, certainly a different situation in terms of energy level from what took place here on Friday night. A look at the Big Four. Karl Malone did most of the scoring early. John Stockton just 6 points. Michael Jordan maybe preserving the energy. Told us that earlier prior to the game. And Scottie Pippen, 3 of 6. 6 points, but showed some signs in the second quarter.
Even though the Bulls struggled with their execution at the offensive end, they have to be very happy that they have controlled the tempo. Only 35 points for the Jazz. You'll remember Game 3, 104 points for Utah. They've been averaging 103 throughout the playoffs at home.
And they had 61 points Utah did at halftime in Game 3. This game, this is Karl Malone time. MVP every time. Go to the hoop. Forget the fadeaway. Points in the paint, dominant from Game 3, a complete reversal here tonight in number 4.
Third quarter underway, and Chicago in possession with Harper and Jordan in the backcourt. Rodman, Longley, Pippen up front. Here's Jordan. And the rebound handled by Stockton. Malone on the rush. He missed it. Stockton picked up by Jordan. Stockton and Hornacek at the guard. Russell, Ostertag, and Malone on the front line. Rodman opening against Malone. Shot clock at 5. Malone with the room. And Rodman handles the rebound.
No offensive rebounds for Utah. And Karl Malone on the perimeter. He's got to pound his way to the hoop. And consequently to the foul line as well.
And the big difference is now with Rodman on Malone, you have Longley with a specific job. Keep Ostertag off the glass.
Pippen thought he had Longley cutting, but Stockton was able to step in his way.
Ryan Russell 0 for 6 on the night.
Stockton, 8 points to John Stockton. It's a 3-point Chicago lead, and Phil Jackson upset with a very quick 20-second timeout.
The defensive strategy, they've got to keep John Stockton under control. Chicago does. You let him get a rhythm, a step, and he'll just continue to kill you and punish you. And the ball goes into Karl Malone, who's passing brilliantly tonight. The screen, Harper, very lazy to fight through. And John Stockton, last season in the playoffs, very difficult. Taken out by Gary Payton in Seattle. This year, much, much better.
And also, John was playing with some injuries. Of course, he's the type of guy that will never complain that he was not at 100% during the whole postseason last year.
Scottie Pippen. Karl Malone with the rebound.
Chicago has not been able to capitalize on Scottie down low against Hornacek.
Ostertag saving the pass. One of those rare off-the-mark passes by Stockton, but Rick Ostertag reaching out to handle it and then scoring to bring the Jazz within 1.
Terrific defense, Utah. Stepped on the line.
Luke Longley angling for possession, stepped on the baseline.
And this crowd starting to become a factor. They weren't really there in the first half. Of course, the Jazz didn't give them anything to get excited about, starting to get behind their team.
Hornacek had the hot hand in the first half. Malone, Stockton for 3, yes! The Jazz with a 42-40 lead.
All set up by a terrific screen by Jeff Hornacek.
7-0 run by Utah. Here's the double on Jordan. Shot clock at 5. Jordan to the left hand. Jordan with the rebound. The tip handled by Rodman. nothing. Yes.
The Bulls finally regroup with a good offensive rebound by Dennis Rodman and finally get their spacing to get a good-looking shot.
Dropped out of bounds by Karl Malone, and for the first time tonight, he looks down at that hand. Stockton very upset. Russell and Karl Malone that time running the lanes on the same side of the floor. Very poor floor balance on the break for Utah.
Michael Jordan only one for his last 8. Jordan for his last 9.
Utah starting to find a rhythm on both backboards.
Malone.
Forget the fadeaway. Get to the hoop.
Karl Malone is now just 3 of 10 from the field. The game tied at 42. You can see the start by Michael Jordan, but since then, he's had his problems. Pippen fortunate to keep it alive. Longley. Oh, a facial served up by Luke Longley.
And Phil Jackson sensing his team is either fatigued, totally out of sync, coming with 2 offensive players now, Steve Kerr and Brian Williams.
Yes, both over at the scorer's table. Luke Longley has played well. He now has 11. Stockton. And Pippen with the rebound.
Scottie and Michael are running, but the rest of the Bulls are not.
Here comes Hornacek. He was cut off by Hopper. Malone. No call. Oh, Rodman reaching out for Malone, and he's hit with a technical foul. And no question about that call. Rodman was trying to draw the charge, and then in frustration while on the floor, he reached up to grab Malone and was hit with a technical.
Dennis Rodman tried this in the first half, just taking a bump and falling back. Didn't get the call then, didn't get the call now. But as Malone trying to get over, jump over, and what Dennis Rodman felt there was Karl Malone was coming right in the direction of his forehead.
I think Dennis was trying to protect his face. Now, he might have tried to trip him a little bit after he did save his face.
Yeah, that's the point that Rodman is making to the official, Ed Rush.
But, Marv, when you have such a negative history as Dennis Rodman does, everything close is going to go against you.
Hornacek getting the technical for the 1 point. Jazz lead. Ryan Williams has just checked back in, trying to hit the cutting Scottie Pippen, and it was deflected out, and then Pippen discussing that with Williams. But it will be Chicago ball. As you see, they have 10 on the 24.
Great back cut by Scottie. The hands are not sharp inside, not crisp for the full set offense.
Steve Kerr for Scottie Pippen. Hornacek. Oh, by Pippen, but recovered. And here's Russell for 3. That is his first field goal. He had missed the previous set. The Jazz up 48-44 with 6.5 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
And finally the crowd into it.
Phil Jackson trying to buy some time for Michael Jordan as Scottie Pippen hit. Jordan getting a rest. Pippen now has 8 points. 2-point Utah advantage. The Utah Jazz trying to tie the series at 2. Chicago hoping to go up 3 games to 1 with game number 5 here in Salt Lake City on Wednesday. Stockton putting the move on Kerr. Reaching for the rebound.
Oh, it took so long for Utah to get into that play. That post speed and split has been good to them.
Foul is called. Pippen on the drive, took the hit, and has some words with Ostertag. He did not like what he felt was a hard foul given up by Greg Ostertag, and from the Chicago Bulls' point of view, that would be a very bad exchange if those two got involved and if both were ejected.
It's not a dirty play. It was just a good, hard, rugged foul, physical foul that you would expect in the finals. Ostertag didn't walk away. Any sort of verbal confrontation.
Over at the scorer's table, let's see if they're calling double technicals. No official word. Well, double technicals were handed out on Pippen and Ostertag. The timeout has also been granted with 5:42 left in this third quarter. The Jazz up by 2 points.
The finals continue. Game 5, Wednesday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on NBC.
Hey, what's our good buddy done? He thinks he can meet that girl. What's the bet?
Hey, Brick Boy, go dust your stuff off. Hi, Cupcake. What do you say I buy you a Bud Light and you appreciate it?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
Nicely done. Fun to watch.
Make it a Bud Light.
You have lived and breathed Captain Troy for years.
You think that I want to do this?
When he took on the face of his son's killer,
That bomb is out there. We're almost out of time.
the killer took his.
You get licking.
Now, Bad never had it so good.
You're Sean Archer. I guess I'm Castor Troy.
John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, Face Off.
What a predicament.
Rated R. Starts Friday, June 27th everywhere.
Hey, today's topic at the Nissan store, anxiety. Guess he's been shopping for a used car. But now there's Nissan Plus. First, each car undergoes a 101-point inspection and is thoroughly reconditioned. Then you get a 72-month, 72,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, 24-hour roadside assistance, and a 3-day money-back guarantee. So you can now buy a pre-owned car with no stress. Nissan Plus.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Well, we'd like to thank the folks at Miller Brewing once again for these terrific aerial views on tonight's game being provided from the Miller Eagle airplane. The Eagle, the newest eye in the sky in sports television.
Don't forget, after game 2, a disappointing performance by Utah and a passive one. Jerry Sloan challenged his team to be more physical, take a foul and a hard one when it's called for, and a lot of staring there.
As the scuffle broke out, Michael Jordan on the bench resting holds the guys back and says, hey, no suspensions. New York had lots of trouble there as Jason Caffey. Now, Jason's been a solid contributor. If it had been a guy not doing it, just push him out in the corner. Get him out of there.
Scottie Pippen goes to the line. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
Well, as Matty just said, Jerry Sloan's been wanting his team to step up and be more aggressive, take some hard fouls. So I asked Jerry Sloan over on the bench if Jerry Sloan, I didn't ask Jerry, I asked the coaching staff over there on the bench, was he happy with that type of a foul? He said, according to Jerry, that wasn't a hard foul. Mark?
Why, thanks, Jim. Dick Pavetta just went behind the basket that Scottie Pippen is shooting at, and apparently had one of the fans remove to be a large cutout of Dennis Rodman that was being waved, and apparently he felt was a bit too much interference on the free throw attack of Scottie Pippen. Boy, that's one you never see. Karl Malone able to hit. He now has 13, and the Jazz up 50-47.
The Bulls keep mixing up their pick-and-roll defense. That time, Steve Kerr forced it to the baseline. Howard Isley, who's not playing a lot of minutes, read that nicely.
There's Isley back for Stockton. Offer for three. Great rebound, Brian Russell. And And here comes Isley. Malone hit the deck in a collision with Williams. No foul call. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Isley was looking for a pick, then went to the spin. And Hornacek tried to save it, could not.
Oh, Jeff Hornacek didn't have to. Actually, that ball was deflected by Steve Kerr, but Hornacek's angle, which was below free throw line extended, I don't think he saw. He definitely didn't see Kerr touch that ball.
Well, Michael Jordan has not taken a free throw tonight. Scottie Pippen only those last 2 attempts.
Hopper getting it over to Williams. Met by Ostertag. Hard driving move. And the ball was punched down court by one of the Utah Jazz, and they are saying, hey, why not a technical foul called on the Jazz? Ostertag picked up the personal foul, his 4th. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Marv. Just moments ago, Dennis Rodman was the one that complained about a big cutout of himself underneath the basket that this fan was waving around. He told Dick Bavetta, and Dick Bavetta had the cutout removed, and the fan gone also. Marv?
Those fans right underneath that basket, they are the greatest. Normally they bring saxophones and steins, trombones. They are so into it here.
Brian Williams making his first appearances at the foul line. We have 4.5 remaining, third quarter. And it's Utah by 3 as they desperately try to get back into the series, hoping to tie it at 2. The Jazz up by 2 points.
It's the first game, Marv, that Isley has not had a tremendously positive impact for Utah.
Phil Jackson saying earlier they had to do a better job on Howard Isley, and they have. Here's Kerr with the steal. Pippen was trying to use the screen, and he does. Scottie Pippen with his first three-pointer of the night to give the Bulls a 1-point lead. He had 7 in game number 3. That equal an NBA Finals record. He shares it now with Kenny Smith for the Houston Rockets. And the foul is called on Kerr.
Steve Kerr having to defend pick and roll on the side. On the previous play, Isley did a good job of going to the open area, make the defense react. Steve Kerr, a better defensive job there. And then Scottie Pippen using that moving screen by Rodman very nicely to raise up to the 3.
Malone. And Jordan to the ball.
Marv, everything for Karl Malone up around the free throw line. Brian Russell on the great steal against Jordan. Terrible pass.
Well, the Jazz gave it right back. They were trying to break 2-on-1 on Jordan. Rodman with a good pick. And a foul against Utah. Foul on Hornacek.
Well, you get so few running chances in the playoffs. You have to take advantage of them. As Brian Russell had a notion to take it right to the rim himself, and then got himself in trouble against some quick hands back there by Michael Jordan, who threw the first pass away.
What great lateral mobility defensively for Michael Jordan. Brian Russell, they'll never set him up right to try to come back left with the behind the back.
And the call away from the ball on Isley for the Utah Jazz. That is team foul number 4. The Bulls with just 1. As we mentioned earlier, Jerry Sloan going with a shorter bench. The outstanding rookie Shandon Anderson is not with the club once again. His dad died of throat cancer the other day, and in Georgia he sat out. Game 3 also out tonight. Williams. Yes. Brian Williams with 9 points. The Bulls lead 53-50.
Chicago finally getting some good ball movement and good cuts to get a shot in rhythm.
Russell backing to three-point territory, but changed his mind. Chicago with 6 unanswered points. Williams played Russell well.
No offense. They can't get it down deep to Karl Malone.
Shot clock at 3. Isley had a force. The shot clock running down, and Isley hits to cut it to a 1-point Chicago lead with 2:20 to go in the third quarter. Brian Williams put it up. Karl Malone getting through the foul. That is number 3 on Malone. Timeout taken. Back in a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
I think I'll take Ralphie for a drive.
Love.
This is the Disney Music Collection.
And this is my McDonald's.
Where you can get one of 3 Disney CDs or cassettes for under $4.
With songs from your favorite Disney movies.
Hakuna Matata.
This is really good music.
Air Force One clear for takeoff. Mr. President, welcome aboard, sir.
How the hell did they get Air Force One?
On July 25th,
the President of the United States.
the time to negotiate is over.
This president is a Medal of Honor winner. He knows how to fight.
I would like to ask all Americans to pray for the safety of everyone on board Air Force One.
Harrison Ford.
Get off my plane.
Air Force One. This film is not yet rated. Opens everywhere July 25th. After his amazing win at the Masters, Tiger Woods tries to become the first back-to-back Grand Slam winner in a quarter century at the 97th U.S. Open. Join NBC for live coverage of his first round, Thursday at 3 Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. Golf's greatest championship, the U.S. Open, starting Thursday on NBC.
Well, to this point, the most valuable player and the MVP runner-up having their problems. Michael Jordan just 5 of 15. Has not scored at all in the second half. Karl Malone got off fast, but overall just 5 for 13.
Well, Michael Jordan 0 for 4, taking that jumper, falling backwards too much, although he likes that shot. Scottie Pippen has picked it up. 12 points in the game as he is starting to warm up. But Michael taking that fadeaway jumper while he was facing the basket, that's unusual, and then flipping the rudder. He's got to get more aggressive, taking the ball to the rim.
Both MVPs fading away. Neither one of them with enough shot opportunities. Just 13 and 14 shot attempts. These guys got to take 25 shots per game.
And Michael Jordan has missed 8 of his last 9. Brian Williams has done a good job again. Came off the bench the other night, 27 minutes, 16 points, 6 rebounds. The back tap handled by Isley. Bulls 54, and the Jazz 52. Marv Albert, Matt Kukoc, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Jim Gray from Salt Lake City, Utah. 9 fouls been called on Pippen. That is his first.
Marv, Chicago's doing a really good job of double teaming in the backcourt on Isley, taking him out of the play.
And the reason they could be so aggressive, they had a foul to give before the 2-minute mark. Good gamble by Scottie Pippen.
They can't even get the ball to Karl Malone in the post. How do they expect to win?
Kerr and Jordan in the backcourt with Williams, Pippen, and Kukoc up front. Chicago going with the smaller unit. Good pick by Williams and the pick and roll, but Williams could not convert.
Well, for some unknown reason, Brian Williams tried to use his right hand there, the natural lefty. Maybe he couldn't get up there. He's got to finish that with a dunk with the left hand.
Isley, met by Kerr. Malone being played by Williams. Malone, yes. The game 54. Steve Kerr took a shot in the head away from the ball.
He's been playing an unusually physical game for Steve, but he is taking his licks as well.
Here's Pippen with the step in the bucket, and the Bulls lead 56-54. Just under 1 minute remaining in the third quarter.
Utah's defense, Marv, a half step slow all night long.
And the foul on Michael Jordan. So the next foul committed by Chicago puts them over the foul limit.
Come right back to Karl Malone in the post. You got to milk the hot hand. The championship is right here on the line.
Now Malone is being played by Kukoc up high. They double up on Isley. Kukoc reaching in. Did he tie him up? Yes, he did. Or no. Foul is called. Reach-in foul on Kukoc. So the Bulls over the limit. Yes, and Phil Jackson thought it was a tie-up. Toni Kukoc pleading his case, but Howard Isley to the line. He's 2 for 2 at the free throw line. A reminder on NBC tonight, after this NBA Finals game, hope you stick around for Men Behaving Badly and Wings. That's must-see TV right after the game, all here on NBC tonight.
With 34.9 left in the third quarter, it's a 2-for-1 situation for Chicago, where you would like to get 2 shots to Utah's 1. See if Chicago tries it.
Bulls and Jazz tied at 56. All right, here's Pippen. On the box out.
Now that's a rebound. Malone right now, every time.
They're on their feet at the Delta Center as the Jazz will look to set up for a final shot. Down to 10 seconds. Game tied at 56. Third quarter winding down. Down to 5. Isley. Rebounded by Pippen. Time runs out as Jordan pops it short. And we have played 3 quarters. It's the Utah Jazz 56. The Chicago Bulls 56. Michael Jordan to this point with a subpar performance. We'll be back here in Salt Lake City after these messages from your local station. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
A meteor? How close? I'm on my way. I forgot the kid's Coca-Cola. Excuse me.
Thanks, Mom. You're super.
On the Seabourn Legend, 1 passenger's insane enough to take command.
Position charges throughout the ship.
And 2 passengers...
Where is he?
He's everywhere.
...crazy enough to try and stop him. This Friday, get ready to rock the boat. From the director of Speed and Twister. Speed 2, Cruise Control.
How do you like your vacation so far?
Rated PG-13. Rush Hour hits the water Friday.
America's most watched news magazine, Dateline, now on Monday.
This game is brought to you in part by your local Ford dealer.
It's License to Win from the Illinois Lottery. Just buy a $5 5-play Little Lotto ticket, and one of 12 new Dodge vehicles could be yours.
copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Welcome back to Salt Lake City. Look at that line score. How uncharacteristic. Chicago with a 16-point first quarter and a 16-point third quarter. Utah with a 14-point second quarter. Chicago and Utah tied at 56 as we head to the fourth. Let's check in first with Jim Gray.
All right, Marv. Jeff Hornacek just went back into the locker room, and now he's coming back out to the floor. He cut his lip, but his problem was with his lower leg. He hurt it. The doctors went back and checked it out. We'll find out whether or not he's going to return. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. And Jeff Hornacek has been an important player after the one for 9 the other night. He has 12 points. He's back on the bench. Question is, will he return to the game? Fourth quarter getting underway. Ryan Williams defending on Karl Malone. John Stockton is back, played by Steve Kerr. Malone, yes. And the Jazz leading by 2.
Well, it was Ryan Williams who had all kinds of problems with Karl Malone in the second quarter of Game 3. The Bulls sensing that, coming over to try to double team, but a good in, out, and back into Malone again.
They double up on Kerr, and it was last touch by the Jazz.
Marv, a good athletic combination now for Jerry Sloan and the Jazz with Brian Russell and Chris Morris. That should deny Scottie Pippen in the post a little bit.
Here's Kerr pulling it away from Stockton, but could not hit. And Chris Morris handling the rebound. So it is Malone with Foster and Morris with Stockton and Russell. Well, Malone tripped up. Malone backing, fading. Pippen with the rebound.
Chicago big men doing a good job on Karl, forcing him into the fadeaway. Karl might want to turn and face and give him a little bit of space to operate.
Kukoc with the screen. Kukoc for 3. Toni Kukoc with his third three-pointer. He now has 9, and the Bulls are up by 1.
Well, Utah's set play execution is getting very tight now. They're not getting the spacing that they certainly got in Game 3 or earlier in this one.
Stockton for 3.
No offensive rebound, effort, or position by the Utah Jazz.
Interesting matchup. Stockton is on Kukoc. Jordan now working Russell. Michael Jordan has not scored in the second half. Michael Jordan 5 for 16. We're told by Jim Gray that Jeff Hornacek injured his left knee, and he will be available to return.
This is one of the most durable and healthy teams in all of basketball, Marv, the Utah Jazz.
Malone. Utah recaptures the lead, up by 1.
The patience of John Stockton to keep working, make Steve Kerr work, and make Ryan Williams help to get Karl Malone open.
19 for Malone, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Jordan had it knocked away, recovered by Pippen, but a reach-in foul was called. Russell leaning in to bat the ball away, but committed his second foul. 9:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. A timeout has been called. It's the Jazz 60, the Bulls 59.
The Chrysler Town and Country LXI. Car and Driver's 10 Best. An Automobile Magazine All-Star. J.D. Power and Associates Most Appealing Minivan. Winner of Strategic Vision's 1997 Total Quality Award for Best Ownership Experience. And now get $1,000 cash back. The Chrysler Town and Country LXI. It's nothing short of everything. What's new in your world?
Schick Tracer FX is the only razor that flexes to cover every sensitive curve. A design so smart, you can feel it. Schick, the feel of smart design.
And so, after 35 years, I returned to Russell, Kansas, to my friends and my family, to that very special place where they always called me by my first name.
Great lunch. Barb, take a check.
Of course, Bob. Can I see some ID? Driver's license?
Consider the Visa check card. It automatically deducts from your checking account everywhere Visa's accepted. No ID needed. It works like a check, only better.
I just can't win.
This is the Disney Music Collection.
And this is my McDonald's.
Where you can get one of 3 Disney CDs or cassettes for under $4.
With songs from your favorite Disney movies.
Hakuna Matata. This is really good music.
Miller Genuine Draft presents a classic moment of the NBA at 50.
Tonight we go back 11 years to the day. Rockets versus Celtics. Game 6 of the 1986 Finals. 32-year-old Robert Parrish finishing the fast break. And Parrish got some scoring help from a fellow by the name of Bill Walton. The Celtics defeating the Rockets 4-2, taking a record 16th NBA title. In recognition of that classic moment, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. There's Robert Parrish several years later as a member of the Chicago Bulls.
Well, Michael Jordan in the first quarter, 4 out of 7 from the field as he got off to a good start, not conserving energy as he said he felt like he was going to do in Game 3, but 1 for 9 since.
And Jordan with only 2 points since the first quarter, trying to get back into it, and he does.
Taking it to the rim, Michael Jordan, when he decides he wants to get there, he can, or he can draw contact.
In your face, Marv. You start dogging him like that, he's going to come down and throw one in your face.
Are you referring to me? Bulls lead 61-60. Russell with room for three. Well, after missing his first 6, he's hit 2 3-pointers. And the Jazz up 63-61. Ryan Williams. Chris Morris able to handle that rebound. John Stockton setting it up. He has Greg Foster back on the floor. Up front, along with Karl Malone and Chris Morris. Here's Stockton. The Jazz leading by 4, and Phil Jackson wants to talk it over.
Help you?
Yeah, this dude gave me this card the other...
Elevator.
On July 2nd,
we monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth.
Oh, man.
suit up.
Let's put it on. You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
And join the team.
Yeah, don't ever touch that red button.
Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith, Men in Black.
You doing fine, eh?
Rated PG-13. Opens everywhere July 2nd.
The Chrysler Town & Country LXI. Car and Driver's 10 Best. An Automobile Magazine All-Star. J.D. Power and Associates Most Appealing Minivan. Winner of Strategic Vision's 1997 Total Quality Award for Best Ownership Experience. And now get $1,000 cash back. The Chrysler Town & Country LXI. It's nothing short of everything. What's new in your world?
It's all about to happen. The Chicago Bulls in the playoffs, and it's time to...
No, please. Please, please, go first. On.
Oh, the game.
Grab a Miller Lite.
They're holding. Hands in the middle.
Hi, I'm Roy
Carl Watkins from the new NBC comedy Built to Last. Now, the network told me I can play ball with any NBA star I want to. I told them, hey, bring on the mailman.
Let's get it on.
Built to Last, coming to NBC.
The lights all on TV.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. By Chrysler and the Chrysler Town and Country. What's new in your world? And by Miller Genuine Draft, who reminds you it's time for better beer bread.
Matt Kukoc arrives at the game on his bicycle, but the Utah Jazz have certainly shown up here in the fourth quarter. Brian Russell, just 2 baskets now, both three-pointers from the same spot. Brian Russell missed his first 6, now 2 straight threes. And then the side pick and roll. Everybody focused in on Malone at the top. Greg Foster finishes the dunk. Antoine Carr, the team, the crowd, everything, the entire state of Utah on top of it right now.
You know me, Bill, I always like to make a grand entrance.
4 minutes gone by. In the fourth quarter, the Jazz with a 65-61 lead. And Jordan off the fake cuts it down to a 2-point lead. And this has become Michael Jordan time after a very quiet ball game.
And at this end of the floor, the Bulls have been very inconsistent in how they want to play this particular pick and roll. At times, Steve Kerr forcing it over to the top. At times, forcing it to the baseline.
Hopper on that foul. That is his first. And for the Bulls, their first team foul. Remember, the home team has won 10 of the last 11 in finals competition. The Jazz with 22 straight wins here at the Delta Center. Morris. And the three-point shot this time comes up short, and a foul is called against Utah. That's number 4 on Karl Malone.
The Jazz out of sync offensively in that position, starting to stand around. They're bailed out here. A wild shot by Russell. Karl Malone with the quick and strong hands. Tough 4th foul now, but Jim Gray was just reporting this. Jerry Sloan telling his guys, don't give Michael Jordan the special shots like those dunks. Make him work from the perimeter.
All right, Jordan using the pick. Jordan, straight away, rebounded by Russell. He had the good look, but could not convert. Utah with the ball up by 2. We're just under 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Jeff Hornacek, despite injuring the left knee, back on the floor. He and Stockton at the guard. Well, he thought Foster was cutting and obviously was not.
Foster should have cut that time. Utah is way too slow in getting into their offense. They may be a little burnt right now.
12th turnover by Utah. Chicago with just 6. Jordan, Russell lost his balance, but Jordan could not take advantage. Now Jordan off the fake. Yes. And he has tied the game at 65.
Very difficult shot, fading behind the backboard. No margin for error on that particular shot.
16 for Jordan.
Brian Russell's going for far too many pump fakes.
Shot clock down to 6. Stockton looking for the 3. Using the screen. Now had to fire one up with the shot clock running down. It's a 24-second violation.
Well, Michael Jordan has had a couple of openings because he has been able to shed Brian Russell. This time pass and keeps moving. And that's the key to the play. But Russell does a good job at least forcing Michael further behind that backboard. And I don't know how he missed the side. By the way, Ron Harper, since he has come off the bench, has done a very good job on John Stockton on the pick-and-roll plays.
And how about Scottie Pippen? 10 rebounds, along with the 14 points. For Kukoc, who's had the hot hand. Had it knocked away by Foster, and a reach-in foul. It's on Foster.
Well, Michael Jordan very upset with Toni Kukoc right now, right in his face, saying, drive the ball. Toni just does not have the confidence right now with his ball handling or ability to penetrate, and he is settling for that perimeter shot.
The Jazz standing on the defensive end, watching rather than moving toward those rebounds and defensive plays.
Here's Jordan. And kicked home by Pippen. Scottie Pippen so effective at going to the boards. The Bulls lead by 2. And Jerry Sloan calls for time. 5:22 to go in the fourth quarter.
Jordan down the lane. Everybody backs off him. He throws up the runner. And then Scottie Pippen anticipates the miss. Just gets it way above the rim. Waits, and throws it down with his left.
Well, Jeff Hornacek came over to help out on the Jordan shot. Nobody helped Hornacek, and that enabled Pippen to get in there for the follow.
So it's the Bulls by 2. We'll be back here in Salt Lake City in a moment.
So, where do you want this?
Hey now, I ordered a new copier.
This is better than new, my friend. Allow me to demonstrate. Oh, what do we have here? Wow. Enlarges, too. Even so late. I'll take it.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
That was close. I didn't think I could shove this baby through.
If it were a guy's world, this would be your 9 to 5. French fries would be considered a fourth food group. And you'd be so cool, you'd never sweat. But in the real world, guys sweat 40% more than women. Guys need the protection of Speed Stick Gel. No other gel keeps you drier, cooler, or more protected in this world, or the world where this is a career goal. The Speed Stick Gel. It's just for the guys.
Choose your way to save with the Chrysler Choice. Just in time for summer driving. $289 a month for the Chrysler Sebring convertible. Or choose 3.9% financing or $1,000 cash back on the Chrysler Sebring Coupe. Choose the way you save. Low lease, 3.9% financing or $1,000 cash back. But choose the way you save now because the Chrysler Choice won't last. What's new in your world?
Iced tea. Iced tea. Only one will satisfy your thirst for action this fall on NBC. What did you think? Players, NBC this fall. Dennis Rodman, Kirstie Alley. Both enjoy lingerie, but only one will put it on after Seinfeld. No. Kirstie Alley this fall on NBC.
Michael Jordan showing some signs in the fourth quarter after he was silent in the 30s at 3 and 6 from the field here in the fourth.
Wow, Michael's up going to get a higher percentage shot as the Utah defense didn't shut down. Feeling it with the jump shot, a tough one there as he was challenged by Brian Russell.
The big four tonight, Karl Malone on the left, just 17 shot attempts. 9 points in the paint, 10 from the perimeter. This crowd, they got to call Karl Malone out. It's MVP time right now. Forget the fade away. He's got to get inside, either power his way to the hoop or earn a trip to the free throw line.
And he's playing with the 4 fouls. Bulls have a 2-point lead. Well, here's Malone. Played very well by Rodman, who just returned. Shot clock at 4. Russell. And deflected out. Last touch by the Bulls.
That rebound, everybody grabbing and pushing and holding rather than getting in the air and snatching that ball.
They get the new 24. Hornacek is fouled. Hornacek looking for the jump shot. Jordan seeking the strip. Called for that foul.
Karl Malone, you see his points in the paint tonight. Jump shooting has been enormous. Just 5 shot attempts down low. That won't get it done. This crowd needs an MVP chant right now.
And Hornacek, an excellent free throw shooter, so that's a rare miss. A reminder coming up after the game, most of these NBC stations, it's men behaving badly and wings. And for those of you who would like to continue with the NBA Finals, as usual, we'll have the post-game special on CNBC immediately after the game. Our entire cast will recount the game with highlights, live press conference interviews, and guests as we look back at game number 4.
Well, Karl Malone is being pushed out of that post to about 17 feet. And with Dennis Rodman on him now, Ron Harper's doing a good job of coming down and doubling, making Rodman pick up his dribble and give up the ball.
Bulls by 1, just under 5 left of the fourth. He's been off, but Rodman with a critical rebound. Dennis Rodman with only his 5th rebound.
That's 5 more than the cutout that they just ejected.
Pippen coming up short, but back to Longley. And a new 24 for Chicago.
And again, you're never going to beat the Bulls unless you just dominate the defensive backboard.
Jordan picked up by Ostertag. Jordan thought he was fouled. Ostertag knocked it away. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the 4th. Hornacek trying to get it inside to Malone. And the foul on the Bulls.
Michael Jordan is hopping mad. Usually when he starts to go to the basket, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt. Didn't get it there as Ostertag wrapped his arm and then running back the other way. Michael's going to run into Ostertag to give him a shot.
Foul on Rodman is 4th. Non-shooting foul. Both teams have 3. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the 4th. Utah down by 1 as they try to trap Stockton. Russell and by Pippen.
Harper, tremendous defense.
Russell. Oh, the back pass by Malone. They get the new 24.
Matt, we were talking about pushing Karl Malone out. Hey, nobody in this league should be able to push Karl Malone off that box.
Stockton finding Russell. And Russell called for the offensive foul.
Smart defense by Chicago right now, and a lot of teams do this to Utah coming down the stretch. Do anything to get the ball out of the hands of John Stockton, make other people make decisions, and in this case, Brian Russell, they would prefer to make him the guy doing what has to be done, and he was just trying to draw a foul and just charged right into Pippen.
Chicago calling for time. And here the reaction from the crowd off that last call. It's the Bulls 67, the Jazz 66.
If we don't dream of doing more, won't we just end up doing more of the same?
The Chrysler Sebring JXI convertible. Now winner of Strategic Vision's 1997 Total Quality Award for Best Ownership Experience. Now lease one for just $289 a month. The Sebring convertible. As far as it gets for more of the same. What's new in your world?
I played just to have that look, that feeling. That feeling of the ball going in. It's a feeling that you just can't describe. You see, only another ball player understand what I'm talking about. Something just feel like snow. Just feel like that pure white snow. You understand what I'm saying? You see, it's a silent shot. You don't like all that noise about it. That's all you hear. Change, it makes shake. But when it going in net, it says, that's it. You and the basket have to have a relationship. You know, no matter where you go, you and the basket got a relationship, man. A lot of ball players say, man, my arms so tired, no why, because he's missing all of it. But when it's going in, I never heard one ball player yet say, my arm is tired. You see, your arm never gets tired. Not when it's going in.
Now that's music to my ears.
Well, it's a matchup of two of the highest scoring teams in the NBA. Chicago first, Utah second. And you saw what the score is. We have game number 5 coming up here in Salt Lake City on Wednesday here on NBC. If there is a game 6, it'll be in Chicago on Friday. If there's a game 7 in Chicago next Sunday. The Bulls 67 and the Jazz 66 with 3:20 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Mark, Jim Gray reporting from the Utah huddle. Don't be like robots, Jerry Sloan yelling at his guys. Be aggressive, be assertive. Don't let Michael Jordan get a 6-foot jump shot.
Oh, how about he almost got about 6 feet in the air? How about that elevation? He was going to make sure he got up
over everybody to release. Bulls now lead by 3. Jordan with 18. 8 of the 18 here in the fourth quarter. Just under 3 minutes left in the fourth. Malone again from the outside. Rebounded by Pippen, and here comes Jordan. Chase from the angle. Jordan puts it away on the breakaway. And the Bulls lead by 5.
Defense on the pick and roll. Excellent that time. Scottie Pippen rotating and challenging the Malone perimeter shot.
It is all on the line here for the Utah Jazz. Trailing 2 games to 1. Good play by Rodman to knock it away. If Chicago can hold on, they'll take a commanding 3-1 lead in this series. The Jazz trying to tie the series at 2. Antoine Carr now checks in, replacing Greg Ostertag. Utah with 3 timeouts, 3 conventional, plus a 20. Chicago with 2 left. Both teams with 3 team fouls. The Jazz missing their last 5 shots. They've gone 5.5 minutes without a field goal.
And the Jazz, known for their sharp execution, especially down the stretch, has been very careless. They're not getting the spacing, so they can't set up the pick, and they can't get the hard cuts from Karl Malone.
11 on the shot clock. Carl's not pushing hard enough. Stockton tries to get it all back with the 3. John Stockton has an enormous shot to bring the Jazz within 2. We approach 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
Jordan to the fadeaway. Yes! Michael Jordan gives the Bulls a 73-69 lead. Stockton played tightly by Harper. 1:50 to go in the fourth. Hornacek shaking off Jordan, going to the left hand, but could not convert. And it was saved by Rodman, who called for time.
Utah, which has such a beautiful set offense, just scrambling, throwing it up with a prayer right now. But it's Michael Jordan able to work one-on-one. First to come off the screen and hit the jumper. Then on the fast break, keyed by the great Chicago defense and rebounding, Scottie Pippen finding him. Karl Malone made a half-hearted effort to get there. Then if you're going to allow Jordan to come to the middle of the floor here, Brian Russell, you need to force him back to the baseline. Jordan's not going to miss that shot in this game situation.
Down to 1:45 remaining in the fourth.
In yet another torture test, we drained the oil from this car and added just this much Castrol Syntec. We then ran it over 100 miles per hour and waited and waited. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. And if a little Syntec can protect under these conditions, imagine what a full oil change can do. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't. And now, try Castrol Syntec Power System, a new kind of fuel system treatment.
When you're 2/10, it's common sense to relax-vous. The more you earn, the less you learn to relax-vous.
We French, you'll find, are more inclined to relax-vous. Relax, 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 relax-vous.
I think I had a shot for all occasions. I practiced hook shots, I practiced my finger roll, I practiced jump shots. You know, the finger roll took it over. That was just a great shot for me. Just roll it over their fingertips, you know, and they think they got it, and it just roll over. Everybody can dunk, but everybody can't finger roll.
Hey folks, I'm Johnny Chimes here with a little song about Sunday night. Thank you. If you want laughter, Sunday night. Surprise! News Radio's After Third Rock. You know this kooky peacock. We'll be watching Sunday night together this summer on NBC Sunday night. Drive safely.
Well, coming into this fourth quarter, a game that was tied at 56. The question is, who would take over? Would it be Michael Jordan? Would it be Karl Malone? Well, to this point, it's been Michael Michael Jordan.
And in game 3, a sluggish third quarter by Michael came on strong in the fourth quarter. How this man rejuvenates him after playing hard all game, but just has a sense when the game is on the line, he wants that ball in his hands.
This title is on the line, and Karl Malone has not had it in the fourth quarter. The great start, but quiet really since then. Just 19 points, not enough shot attempts. 4 attempts for Karl Malone in the fourth.
Chicago now with 1 timeout left. Utah with 3 at a 20. A minute 45 to go in the fourth. The Bulls in possession. They lead by 4. Jordan puts the move on Russell.
That is a tough call against Jordan here. Stockton is going to come up with the great blind side strip. And Michael turns his back here. Here comes John, and he's got nothing but ball. And then the foot race is on. Jordan knows he can get there, but John takes off from too close to the basket. You've got to extend from the free throw line and reach. That's a great block.
And what Michael Jordan is complaining about, that John Stockton waves him off. John knows he's in trouble right now. Going to wave off with that left arm, hoping to just get some contact as the Utah Jazz looking for their first fast break point of this game.
And that's the 4th steal of the game for Stockton, who is on the line for the first time tonight. John Stockton, an excellent free throw shooter, 85% during the regular season.
John Stockton shot that layup jumping up rather than jumping out. It was a perfect block by Jordan. No foul should have been called.
A minute 31 remaining in the fourth quarter. Stockton missing, which is most unusual. It's a 3-point Chicago lead. And they work it down to a minute 20 to go. Jordan played by Russell. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Pippen takes the from 3-point line. And a foul on Pippen. For the Bulls, it is their 15th foul. 1:03 to go in the fourth quarter. The Bulls by 3 points, and John Stockton is back at the line.
Well, a shaky possession all the way around for the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan couldn't find an opening, got into the lane, and then Pippen had to force the shot, and then inexplicably fouling John Stockton.
You look at the numbers there. John Stockton just ice at the line in the fourth quarter. But the Jazz have missed 2 critical free throws down the stretcher. Hornacek missed one when it was 65, 66, right in that range. And then Stockton, the previous trip down. This one has to go.
And Utah 12 of 18 at the line. They've been off at the line here this evening.
Offense, defense substitution for the Bulls. Kukoc and Kerr in for Rodman and Harper.
It's a 1-point Chicago lead. Just under 1 minute remaining in the fourth quarter. Game 4 of the NBA Finals with the Bulls up 2 games to 1. And Jordan comes up short. Stockton fires down on the line. And the Jazz have taken a 1-point lead.
Jordan takes the jumper. And then Karl Malone just keeps running. The shortest guy in the court, John Stockton, gets the rebound. 1 bounce and no left hand on the ball over the top. Nothing Jordan can do. Karl Malone, the best running big man in the game, just keeps it going. Pounds by everybody. Total concentration, no denial.
And that is the first field goal on a fast break for Utah in this ballgame, and the Bulls were forced to use their final timeout.
John Stockton, you work on this pass your whole life. You rarely get it. Michael totally misjudged it. Stockton, normally so stoic, he said, yeah. 2, 3. Give him a pogo stick out there.
That was kind of the way he jumped when he hit the game winner against Houston.
The Bulls had a 73-69 lead with a minute and 45 remaining. Michael Jordan was hitting his shots, but has not been able to hit his last couple. Utah in the postseason. At home at 9-0. They have won 22 straight at home. The last time they've been beaten here at home was in overtime by Seattle back on the 23rd of February. They are desperately trying to tie the series at 2. So it has come down to 44 in 5-10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Jazz up by 1. Remember Michael Jordan with the game winner in game 1 at the buzzer in Chicago.
Mark, the shot clock here favors the home team, Utah Jazz. If Chicago is forced to run it down, Utah will get the last opportunity at this ballgame.
And Utah has a foul to give.
Chicago is over the limit. Chicago does not have any timeouts remaining. Steve Kerr is back on the floor. It's Kerr with Kukoc, Pippen, Longley, and Jordan. And Kukoc handles. Jordan, played by Russell. And Kerr for 3. Kerr takes the rebound. And it's been knocked out of bounds. Hornacek had it knocked out, but apparently was able to call for time. Dick Bavetta indicating a timeout. It will be Utah ball with 26 and 2/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
For Utah right now, get the ball to John Stockton's hand. Everybody in the world knows this ball's going to Jordan. He has to give it up. The rebound again. Hornacek fighting to get it. The big dog, Antoine Carr, kept it alive. Dick Bavetta right on top of the timeout call. Didn't look like Hornacek really indicated it. But Utah now, John Stockton only handles that ball because he's the Iceman from the line.
Well, I guess the big decision for Utah in that possession was whether or not they were going to double team Michael Jordan. Of course, when he puts the ball on the floor, you got to come and help. But on that pass to Steve Kerr, I thought Steve rushed his shot. Earlier in the season, Steve passed up what a lot of people thought was an open shot. Turned out a man was running on him, and Phil Jackson told him then, anytime you're open, I don't care what the situation, let it fly. And I thought Steve rushed it.
Ryan Russell played a great defensive job. Rodman not really a factor here down the stretch. I think the Bulls have to foul right away here, Matt.
Well, Jeff Hornacek was able to make that save along the baseline. As we said, he called for time. Tough to see from that previous angle. Let's take another look. Let's see. Here's the miss by Kerr, and then Hornacek, yes, called for time. Apparently, he verbally called for the timeout.
Reverse angle this time, swallowed up there by the Bulls. He had already made the timeout call, and Bavetta stepping right in.
So we're down to 26 and 2/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Jazz leading by 1 point. Most unusual low-scoring game between these two high-scoring teams. Jordan with 22, picking it up late, Malone with 21. Chicago does not have any timeouts left, and they are already over the foul limit.
And that's a big factor. It's a difference of 3 on the shot clock, so Chicago can't rely on their defense now to try to stop without that timeout. They've got to look for a steal or two here and then commit a foul.
Foul immediately. But now they're just going to run out of time here.
All right, here's Malone. That will be the man you'd want to foul. Malone is fouled with 18 seconds remaining in the fourth. Well, there is Utah just arrived at the game. Larry Miller is a Mormon, as a devout member of the Mormon faith. Does not attend Sunday games, considers the Sabbath holy, says it's just an individual decision, wants to spend the day with his family. He missed game 1, would miss the game 7 next Sunday if the series goes that far. He's just arrived here after spending the day with his family. So Larry Miller has just made his appearance here at the Delta Center.
Scottie Pippen trying to talk Karl Malone out of it. Hornacek right in there. This is the situation Karl's dreamed of for a week.
Karl Malone who missed the critical free throws, which led to the game winner by Michael Jordan. Game 1 hits on the first for a 2-point Jazz lead with 18 seconds remaining.
He made 4 straight coming down the stretch of game 3, but he told me yesterday he wanted to be in a tougher situation, similar to the way he was in game 1. This is very close.
And now Utah calling for time. So Chicago with no timeouts left. Utah has 1 in the 20. 18 seconds left in regulation. The Jazz up 75-73. All right, as we watch Larry Miller react to that first made free throw, you saw the yes from Larry as Karl Malone was able to hit. For more of that, let's go to Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you, Marv. I'm here with a very nervous Larry Miller. You just arrived at the game. Was this your first look at the score of this free throw?
Well, I'd listened to the score on the game on the radio for a minute or two before we got here, and this was the first time I'd seen any of it. So, boy, this is as good as it gets. Michael's doing his thing, and we're doing our thing. What a great game, no matter what happens.
I guess you're very nervous. We're going to let you watch the game right here. It's almost better that you didn't see it, huh?
Yeah, you're right. I'd much rather be standing up by now.
All right, let's send it back out to Marv.
All right, thank you, Jim. Karl Malone to the line again. He's 4 or 5 at the line this evening. 18 seconds remaining. In this fourth quarter, the Bulls are out of timeouts. It's a 2-point lead. This basket hits on both. The Bulls now need a 3-pointer. Trailing by 3. Short with 10 seconds. He fires the 3. Jazz scored the last 9 points in the final minute 45. They've defeated the Bulls 78-73. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad with Karl Malone and John Stockton. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Marv. John, this was a game simply of will, but who wanted it better? And you guys played so strong down the stretch.
Well, we made some big plays, and we got fortunate, really. Karl's even tip out at the end was a big play, so that's what we need. They're a great team.
And you got a lot of confidence coming from out of game 3. I'm going into this one.
Maybe. It's better than losing it. You don't know if you can win, but we played well in that game. It carried over a little bit. Hopefully this can carry over to the next one.
All right. And Karl, the situation you were in at the end of the game, similar to the situation in game 1. This is the situation you were looking for, wasn't it?
You know, this is the situation I was looking for. I had said earlier, I wish I was in that situation again. Sometime in life, you never get that. I just want to block everything out and concentrate. You know what? I can't say how proud I am of these guys. We never gave up. And it's going to be an all-out war on Wednesday night.
It looks like 2 separate teams from the first 2 games to the last 2.
Well, I think we play with a lot of focus since we've been home, and we need that kind of effort. And I'll tell you what, when we play together as a unit, we're tough to beat. Chicago got an unbelievable team. They never gave up, and they're going to come at us real hard on Wednesday. I thank God to give us that energy that we needed down the
stretch. All right, Carl, congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Marv. All right, thanks a lot. As it turns out, tonight, the second lowest scoring game in NBA Finals history. Let's get to Jim Gray back on the floor. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Marv. I'm with Jerry Sloan and Larry Miller. Larry, you just had an emotional word. Repeat what you just said to Jerry Sloan.
I just said we didn't show any quit at all. I'm proud of these guys.
Jerry, how about that game? Winding down there in the last minute, you're 5 back. What were your thoughts at that time?
Well, you know, you always feel like you have a chance. Where John made a couple of sensational plays that really gave us a big lift. And obviously, Carl's free throws was important, and John making his is also important today.
Your reaction on the fast break was one of those things that people are never going to forget. When Stockton threw that ball to Malone, it was like you were more nervous that the pass was going to be completed.
I hollered, "Oh no!" first. I have to be honest. And then John made a great pass, and of course Carl is a great catcher, and that's what makes them work well together.
Jerry, the energy level of this game was much beneath the Jazz's energy level in Game 3. How did you manage to get it back in that last couple of minutes?
I think John kept us alive. He came out hard in the third quarter and hit a couple of shots. It seemed like he kept saying, we're going to try to have some way to win this game, even when we were down. We're struggling a little bit coming down the stretch. He said, there's still a lot of times we just keep playing, we'll be all right.
All right, Jerry, congratulations. Larry, are you going to consider not coming to the next game based on the result? You did so well.
Hang on, what's that?
Yeah. All right, he gets a hug here. He didn't hear that question. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Larry Miller had other things on his mind, apparently. Hugging Karl Malone for the victory. The Jazz make it 23 straight here at home for the Bulls. 4 straight road losses in the finals. Here's a look at that big play. But the rebound reaching in as Malone was able to tip it to Stockton, and then Stockton found Russell, and this ended it with 0.5 of a second remaining. A dramatic come-from-behind victory by the Utah Jazz over the defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls to tie the series at 2. And here is Utah Jazz owner Larry Miller, who turned up here at the Delta Center in the final minutes. He's watching it on the monitor, and he is celebrating as he saw Brian Russell put it down. Again, the final score, the Jazz 78 and the Bulls 73. This NBA Finals series is all even. Join us Wednesday in prime time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific for the Bulls and the Jazz in Game 5 right here on NBC. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, Men Behaving Badly and Wings. Must-see TV. That's right after the game. They're next on NBC. And for those of you who'd like to continue with the NBA Finals, much to talk about, interviews, post-game activities, all available on CNBC immediately after these messages. So for Matt Kukoc and Bill Walton, Ahmad Rashad, Jim Gray, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Salt Lake City, Utah. This has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.
This week, golf's greatest championship, the U.S. Open. Thursday at 3 Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, the opening round live with Tiger Woods, Nick Faldo, and Corey Pavin, the featured players. Then Friday at 3, round 2. Jack Nicklaus, Greg Norman, Fred Couples, and Davis Love III, the focus of our live coverage. On both